Welcome back to Smashing Heads Podcast. This is episode
11.
Yeah, it's
You spoke out of place.
You did. It's the one who spoke out of place is my wife Hannah.
Hey.
Who refused to come on to our IG Live.
Yeah.
Listen.
Introduce me real quick.
Well, this is my best friend George.
W. Bush Jr.
Oh,
You know, honestly, I didn't even mean to say it in a reference to that. I just was going to say a weird name, and then I almost said Jeff, but that's Hannah's dad's name. And so I was like, George, let's go George.
you're just adding fuel to the fire.
You know,
That's what you're
and that was
doing.
subconsciously, so it must be seeping into me, too.
Well, guys, I'm hyped up on my prescription meds for my migraine. I am on cloud 9, so I'm going to be hopping in, interrupting, interjecting. I'm going to take over this episode tonight.
God, I hope you say something crazy tonight.
It's a spooky night tonight. We don't have any of our real lights on. I have a lamp in the corner because Hannah can't take any real lights.
It's underneath the table, so
Yeah.
I don't see it.
So it's a little bit of a different mood for us because again,
My eyeballs are burning out of my skull.
if you missed the Instagram live, Hannah wasn't with us because she got off work and had a migraine and was just trying to rest it off before
I had
the
already
podcast.
had it for 5 hours.
You were not lying about jumping in whenever you're already starting it.
You know,
I'm real lightheaded.
I'm trying to figure out who's a player in the. I mean, we could use probably Mike Conley or someone. You're like the Mike Conley of this podcast. You're great at what you do, but you have these moments when you're not available. It's a migraine or it's work. It's something. And so
It's Mariota.
It's
Mariota.
Mariota.
Yeah.
I don't watch the Titans.
Not Mariota, not Mariota, or however people are saying
Marriott?
it. People still get his
Jay
name
Mariotti.
wrong. That's what you are. You're great, but sometimes you're not here.
You know,
Well, listen,
the
if
biggest
I'm
part of
scheduled
the
to work,
job
I
is showing
can't
up.
take care of that.
Did somebody start a timer?
No, I got
No.
one on the thing. So
It's whatever. Who cares?
Tonight might be a weird one. We'll see. So again, we did the Instagram live. If you joined us on that, we really appreciate it. Me and Jake had a lot of fun.
You said Instagram.
Okay. Well, we don't appreciate that Hannah wasn't there. We did kind of have her there because you brought in our wedding pictures and put them on.
Instragender.
Which is really weird because those photos, the only people that have seen those photos are the people that have been in our house, which are like 4 people.
And I'm one of the 4.
Yeah.
And now I'm here all the time.
You're here more than anyone else.
We did not post our wedding pictures on the internet.
No.
Or on Facebook or anything. Like, I wanted to
So,
keep that private
if you
for
want,
us.
well, Jake just put it out there.
So,
That's right.
thank you, Jake,
People needed
for
to see
sharing
it.
it with
If-
strangers.
If you want to see it, it's only available for like the next 23 hours because Instagram live videos go away after that. So go back and watch that. Hannah's going to go watch it later, see what she missed. We had a lot of good questions, a lot of good interaction. We weren't sure how it was going to go, but it actually went really well. So we'll probably try to do some more of those again.
I asked you before we went live, I said, what if only like 3 people show up?
I think we were up to how many at one point?
Well,
Close to
total, there were 25
yeah.
that joined.
At
but-
once, I think we were like 17 all at once.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
That's way more people than I expected.
So
We had some really good interaction. Some people that names I would definitely recognize, and then other ones that I didn't know. But a lot of good questions. A lot of them wanting to know some of our personal stances on things. Who we would like to interview.
Yeah.
Um,
The coolest part was just, I mean, that's just continued support for us,
Yeah.
and we appreciate it. Like, I know it.
we're glad people. We had a handful say this is the first Instagram live that I've clicked on purpose.
I don't think I've ever clicked on an Instagram live on purpose. Now that I think about it,
I probably have, but yeah, that we had at least 2 or 3 say that. So
Yeah.
we appreciate that. People showed up.
yeah.
Hung out until the show started, and it was fun. I mean, we'll do it again for sure.
So hopefully next time, Hannah will not be a healthy scratch for the Instagram live.
Yeah, the biggest part's just showing up.
Though I guess you were not really healthy,
Yeah,
No.
she's here now though. So,
but you look great. I mean,
although she didn't want you to put her on the
I
story.
look like I got hit by a truck.
what do you think, Zach? She's your wife.
I have like 18 bags under each
I
eye.
had to turn my phone on silent, and Wesley just texted us.
Hannah told you.
I did. I told you before we started to put your phone on silent.
Why'd he send us bug eyes?
I don't know.
He sent us Brad eyes.
He probably
Hey, Wesley.
he probably just now finished the episode because he said he might fall asleep, so he was recording it. Anyway, we wanted to say thank you for jumping on Instagram with us. The other thing is we had a little bit of a housekeeping thing. We ended up getting the Twitter handle at Smashing Heads now. We thought it was a dead account. I just kind of passively tweeted at it, and they're like, "Hey, I don't use this. You can just have this this at name, and I'll change mine to just my real name." And so we really appreciate that. So we're just at Smashing Heads on Twitter now.
We are
no
no
PC.
longer pretty cute,
Yeah.
and I'm very upset about it.
It's just it's a branding thing.
I don't care.
It's gone, and it's never coming back, and
we'll never be cute again. We are ugly from here on out.
That's on you. I mean, me and Jake looked pretty good tonight on the live.
Well, one girl thought we had a dip in our mouth.
Yeah, she didn't say who, but she's like, "Do you have dip in your mouth?"
Which one of you?
Probably
Zach,
me.
Zach, you can't really tell because you got
is.
so much hair on your face.
Probably me. I sound like George Bush. I look like I have a dip in my mouth.
You are wearing a camo hat.
That's right, you
I
are.
like this camo hat.
Well, I mean, it just kind of goes with the persona.
I don't think I would anything
Let's be clear.
camo.
Let's be clear. I don't hunt. I'm not outdoorsy.
Do you
and
fish?
I do enjoy the occasional
I
fish.
enjoy a fish.
Not the food fish. I don't like to eat fish.
I like to eat fish.
But I'm not a hunter.
Barfield?
Yeah. I'm not that either.
Yeah. He is a hunter, non-ironically.
You don't drive a pickup truck.
I do.
No, but I wouldn't mind a pickup truck.
Well,
so
you're not helping yourself.
They
Jake.
don't pick the trash up at my house, so I have to take it off in my nice Kia Optima.
Well, you used to make us
hybrid
pick it up in our truck.
Well, that's because I had a lot of boxes. Yeah. Nobody cares about this, honestly.
This is really dumb. We shouldn't be talking about this on air.
Let's talk about some of the emails.
So, yeah, we got a lot of emails this week. I don't know what happened. We were kind of going through a little bit of a lull, and then all of a sudden we got a ton. And so we're going to hit those real quick.
This is the first I'm hearing about any of them.
We really appreciate them. Let me start off by our man Neil, who reached out. He said, he's not our demographic, essentially, saying he's on the other side of 60, but he watches the challenge with his daughter, he said is a millennial daughter, and that's their way to bond. And then he listens to our show every week. So he said he didn't appreciate the bands at the end, but he's like, I know I'm not your demographic, so it's fine.
Though he's not our demographic, he is officially part of the Smashing Heads family.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I honestly, that's been one of my favorite emails because, like,
you don't expect him to listen.
Well, my parents are both around that age. They're getting close to 60.
Your dad's almost 60.
I know. And
he's having a hard time with it. He brought it up the other day.
Well, they don't know what this show is. They have no idea. They still don't know what we do every week. And the fact that, there's someone out there that bonds with his daughter while watching it and then listens to us, that's really big for us. So we appreciate that, Neil. Reach out anytime.
We do love emails.
We had a couple other ones that we're not going to get into, just from Brad and Ilaria, who Ilaria just emailed us, so we'll get back to her off air. But we appreciate those. We want to hit some things real quick.
Brad, well, shout out to Brad too.
I said Brad.
Did you say Brad?
Yeah, I did. I said Brad and Ilaria.
I was checked out.
It's fine.
I wasn't listening anymore.
Jake, you're not listening.
I'm not.
So
you need to plug in.
So. We had a couple things we really wanted to get to on the show. Last week we talked about Jose's terms. One being a read, we didn't know what that was beforehand, and then two being, he said gagging, and we thought he meant to say gasping. We got a very informed email from, what was his name again?
Sean.
Sean's first time he emailed us. So if you want to hit those definitions real quick, he was right on.
So I'll just quote him because I'm by no means going to try to explain it because it's all new to me. So to quote Sean in his email to us, when Jose used the term gagging, he did indeed mean to use that word. Gag or gagging is a term popular in gay culture that means that you're so shocked or amazed that you would be at a loss for words and would likely gag or choke when trying to find some words. And then he went on to say that it's a term that originated in the ballroom scene in New York in the 80s.
Very detailed.
Yeah, where gay
I really liked the history report. I really enjoyed it.
Where gay and trans people, predominantly black, some Puerto Rican.
Which we, again, this explains why we didn't know what it means.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not our culture.
But they would insult each other to help build up a thick skin to all the hate they dealt with in the real world.
Which makes a lot of sense.
So, and then he went on to say that, that there's a documentary about the ballroom scene called Paris is Burning and has recently been popularized in the mainstream by RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah. So, I thought
I really want to see that documentary.
I thought he meant the term Reed had been popularized by RuPaul's Drag Race.
Was that what he said?
Regardless, it was very, very detailed, and like he explained it, and we're like, oh, well, that makes sense why we didn't just know about it. Cause it's,
I try to learn at least one new thing a day, and that was 2 things.
What'd you learn today?
For that day?
You haven't learned yet today. We still have a couple hours left. So then Paul emailed us. And it's again, stat checker Paul. He checked back in.
We love Paul.
I'm starting to question Zach's love for Paul because you didn't respond to him.
I didn't respond because it was a lot, and I knew we were going to hit it on the air.
Do I need to start responding to Paul?
I mean, you can. I usually do. I knew we would talk about it because he had some good points.
I think you should let me start replying to every of the emails.
She has access.
She has access to everything. She just doesn't use it. So yeah, hit those the real quick. He made some good points about concurrent eliminations.
So he brought up, the fact that, I have Cam in my top 5, that he still didn't necessarily agree.
Mm-hmm.
Actually stated he just flat out disagrees.
Yeah, which is fine.
But
That's okay.
He said, here's a nice Cam stat. The only females in challenge history to go 5-0 in their first 5 eliminations and have those wins spread over more than one season are Laurel, Emily Schramm, and Cam.
All top. That's very good company.
Those are great competitors.
Those are the 2 best female competitors, right?
The reason he made the distinction over more than one season because people like Casey and things like that got carried essentially by Wes into more than 5 eliminations. And so we all know Casey's not winning an elimination on her own.
She should have never been on this show.
So that's why he made the distinction over multiple seasons. And then he said something about guys, too.
He also said that Wes and Alton are the only guys to do that, which are 2 of the best male competitors ever.
For sure.
He also
they're both really good.
He also called you out for saying that Karamo is a better competitor than
I don't
MJ.
remember. Yeah, I don't remember saying that.
I do.
I might have said. Yeah, I just don't remember. I remember MJ. Honestly, the only season I really remember him on is him coming in as a replacement and not doing very good.
I'll say what Paul is trying to say, but he's being real nice. You're an idiot.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Paul.
I tell him that all the time, and he doesn't take it from me.
Well, you don't have the pedigree that Paul's laid out. We know he checks his sources.
Triple H's finisher is the pedigree.
Okay. So he also said an interesting fact that MJ was kind of a jerk in real life to Landon.
Yeah,
because they were on The Real World with Karamo and that season, and they seem to be pretty good friends on the show. And again, you can kind of...
Yeah, he mentioned that Landon has said in interviews that when Landon would try to hang out with MJ after the show finished, MJ just said, dude, that was just for TV. Yeah, and ignored him.
Yeah, and ignored him. And he's like, they got matching tattoos together on The Real World.
Which Landon is one of the all-time nice guys.
Oh, he's
super cool.
He was on Challenge Mania like not long ago, and he still seems like the same personality. Like that... Again, that made me have a lesser opinion of MJ because I know you always liked him because he's from Nashville.
He's not kind of from
Nashville. Well,
I
don't know where
native.
He lived for his whole life.
He's just kind of from Nashville.
Anyway, that kind of shocked me. But who knows? We'll see.
Will we?
No.
Okay.
I just was trying to make a segue to the next part.
No, he's not on the show. We're not going to see anything from him.
You never say never.
Okay, so anyway, into tonight's episode.
That's what I was trying to do.
You better keep these
you didn't do it as assertive as I did.
You're doing the timestamp.
I don't have a time.
Jake is responsible for the timestamps.
I don't have a time.
Okay, so...
No timestamps tonight.
1 week.
The recap from last week, we are reminded that Jose and Davon made it back into the main house, which was super surprising.
Mm-hmm.
And then we pick back up in the Purge Challenge where we left off last week.
Yep.
It
looked like Cam was definitely behind the 8 ball.
Cam and Cara kind of battling it out in the food challenge.
For last place.
Whoever lost this went straight to the Redemption House, no elimination. And we're reminded that Marie and Cara only had 6 plates.
Yeah.
And for Cam and Kaylee to avoid the Redemption House, they just had to eat more than 6 plates.
Or 6 in a faster time.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, again, everyone else just like once they got past 6, they just quit.
Yeah. Which I don't blame them.
No.
So finally, it's taken absolutely forever. It seemed like it may have been editing, but it seemed like Cara had already finished all 6 of her plates and was waiting.
They were stacked up whenever they cut at one point.
Cam was really taking her time, pulling off little pieces of her food, sticking it in her mouth, chewing it up for a long time.
She was eating the way like girls in high school eat when they're like out with a group of people and they don't want to like...
And they're like self-conscious about eating.
Yeah.
Which I've never had that problem.
But you know what I'm saying? Like they like pick off a little piece and put it in their mouth.
Oh yeah. I sat with those girls at the lunch table.
What queen do you know that's gonna
just devour?
Yeah.
Yeah, she eats like a real queen.
So it fits.
I get it, but again,
it was very ladylike
to keep up that like persona,
the dominance.
And we're fans of Cam. It was a letdown. It was a letdown.
Yeah, she only got 3 plates.
I almost had her as my getting her head smashed tonight. I took her out.
Don't give it away.
I changed it.
He said almost.
I changed it.
Yeah.
But for that reason, I almost wrote it down early on in the episode.
Anyway, so she only got through 3 plates, which is
pretty bad.
I was so disappointed. Yeah. So then once that happens, TJ announces that Cam and Kaylee are going to Redemption House, and then Kaylee turns and just kisses Nelson.
Yeah, I was gonna say
like out of nowhere, didn't say anything, just turns, kisses him, and then they walk away.
One of the sweet moments of this season.
Well, I wrote 2 question marks after that.
So Nelson was currently in London filming X on the Beach, UK.
Was currently.
He's back.
Was currently. He was currently.
Boy. He's back. He was only there a week, and then he got sent back somehow. I don't know how it works either, but everyone was surprised that he's back already.
So we're assuming that things are not...
They didn't mend that relationship, I don't think.
Well, they seem to have been well at the time on the challenge.
They did. He fancied her.
Oh my goodness. Look, man, how many times he said that word?
It was really only one episode, though.
I know, but he said it a lot of times. And then somebody else made a joke about it, like, later on.
I have a soft spot for Nelson.
I feel for him.
He's part of one of my 3 things tonight, but I'm not going to say it right now.
You're patent pending 3 things.
Yeah.
So after the kiss, segue into the Redemption House. Cam and Kaylee walk in. Natalie.
Which real quick, Cam, just lining up with what I've been saying, said this is nicer than the house we were in.
And they both talked about how, I would like to stay here. And I was
not okay with that.
Yeah, it's not.
It doesn't make any sense.
Not okay with that.
Like here's
who's gonna fight to get out of the Redemption House if the Redemption House is super nice and cozy?
You could get sent. You're on the edge of whatever. But yeah, that's the thing is like Paulie and Natalie have spent at least 2 or 3 weeks in that house
at minimum,
just kind of hanging out, working out, running when they need to. You saw Paulie coming in from a run, and then they just kind of lay around. I mean, I'm sure it's boring and they get tired of each other, but.
Yeah, when it's only the 2 of them.
It's not anything that should be considered like punishment. And like they should be to some degree punished because they've sucked so far.
Yeah.
And you're not just saying that because it's Paulie.
Any team who's lost 3 eliminations.
Because we know how much you not hate
strongly dislike
Paulie.
I don't think we would be friends in real life.
We don't know. Maybe one day.
I don't know.
Well, here's what got me about Cam and Kaylee walking in.
Let's hear it.
Natalie gets all distraught and kind of loses it, and then runs upstairs and crawls in the bed. And then Paulie walks in, and Cam runs and hugs his neck, and she is like super excited to see him. Kaylee's super excited to see him. It's weird.
I will say, tonight, up until the big fight, which we'll get into, this was the most relatable version of Paulie we've ever seen. Yeah. Do you agree?
Uh-oh.
I mean, do you not agree?
When we get done with this segment of the Redemption House, okay. I have a thing I need to say about Paulie.
He was the most like kind of normal, down to earth. He wasn't in character. And he had just come in from a run, and there's like, there's people here. Let's be friends. And he's like, you guys need to talk about this. You need to work it out because you're going to live together. And I was like, that's a really like relatable thing. He's like,
that's really smart.
Well, he's trying to be a normal person and not
like a decent human being.
He's not like a heel from like the 90s in the WWE. Yeah. To where he's like, oh, I'm going to get you.
It was really.
Is that the Macho Man?
Yeah.
It was really kind of weird to see that side of him.
Yeah, it was.
And I mean, it's like, that's how normal people should behave, and normal people should encourage
It's
their friends
the most
to make
relatable
up with
he's ever been.
the person that they've been fighting with. But what was weird was the fact that he's been the complete opposite this whole time. We've never seen anything else from him.
And when he's done interviews and podcasts or on social media, he's in character like that.
And
and yeah, I don't like that. He in real life he might be, because again, Shane stuck up for him. Cam seemed to really like him. I just don't like his persona that he puts out there when he's like, "Oh, I beat up the whole football team every day," and that gets into the principal's office. Like, no, you didn't. Come on. So, again, if he was like he was tonight, and then just got really intense for the competition, and wasn't trying to be
Paulie
and wasn't
fans.
trying to be a character, I could get behind that.
Because it kind of reminds me of Abram that way.
Abram
was a super chill person. He was really funny, but there were times where in the show you saw his really soft side. There were several times where,
but he's crazy too.
Yes, yeah. But remember that one season? I think it was X's, where he's sitting with Diem, and Diem is talking to him and telling him about her relationship with CT, and he's sitting there crying. Yeah. He is crying.
Again, he's a painter. He's in touch with his feelings.
But then when he gets into challenges and eliminations, he pops a blood vessel and his nose starts bleeding and he loses his mind.
Abram's a different breed. I don't think we're going to see another person like Abram.
No. Incredible.
The funny thing is when Paulie started doing all this stuff, one of the best comments I saw on Reddit was, every night Paulie goes home and dreams that he'll grow up to be CT or Abram. And I was like, that's dead on.
He did say he was a big fan of CT.
Exactly. I think he's seen those, and he's like, I'm going to be the next one. And it comes across fake. With Abram and CT, you legitimately thought that they were going to murder you.
Well, he did try to murder Adam one time, and 6 people had to pull him off.
Multiple times. Yeah. And Abram, again, Abram single-handedly almost won him and his brother in elimination against Thomas and his brother, because he got him and his brother Mike so worked up that, again, blood starts smearing all over his face.
He smeared it all over his face.
Mike's been pretty low-key, and he starts yelling and losing his mind too, and it scared those twins.
I really want to go back and watch that season, because I remember that elimination, and I absolutely loved every second of it.
That's one of the best eliminations.
Loved it.
Anyway, Paulie seemed normal, at least for a little while tonight.
We like the Paulie we saw tonight. We want to see more of that Paulie.
I agree with that.
Moving on.
Wait. No, he's got something.
Okay, Jake, excuse me.
I said it.
I
gave everybody a heads up. I've got something I got to say about
didn't raise your
Paulie.
I didn't know
hand,
you were going to say it now.
Well, it's as good a time as any.
Okay, go ahead and get it out.
Right.
No better time than the present.
I think...
let's talk about Kaylee. I'm just kidding. Let's go.
Sometimes I wonder if I'll be back the next week.
You will be.
So talking about Paulie, tonight, because I'm a believer in the idea that people act the way they do for a reason. Mm-hmm. And I think tonight we possibly saw who Paulie really is.
Outside of TV?
Yes.
But he doesn't give that persona off on any sort of social media or anything either.
So I think there's a reason to that, though. Be it he didn't have the best, upbringing in high school, maybe family issues. I
think it's insecurities, honestly.
I do too. Yeah. And I think that's also, and I've got some things I got to say about Cara tonight too.
Okay.
But I think
you're going to get a lot of people mad at us.
I'm speaking my heart. I have a soft spot for both of these two.
We were fans of her.
But I think we saw tonight from both sides why they are together right now.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Because I think, and look, we all of us 3 even at this table, are flawed in some sort of way.
I'm not. Are you kidding
all right,
me?
well, let me just talk about me.
Speak for yourself.
I will.
Talk about yourself for a minute.
I'm a flawed dude, man. I've got some hang-ups, some struggles. We all do. I'm being real. This is heavy.
Not really.
Is it?
Not yet.
Is it not?
I mean,
well, I'm not going to talk about them.
I think you're projecting things.
But I think I think people are drawn. Broken people are drawn to other broken people.
Oh yeah, hurting people hurt people.
But they're not hurting each other.
Well,
maybe
that's debatable.
Okay, now we're getting weird.
I'm not 100%.
No, I don't mean it like that. I think.
Jake, how did you take that?
Okay.
You took it sexual, but that's
point-
not what I meant.
Gross.
The
We don't
point-
talk about that kind of stuff.
The point I'm
Not
trying
here.
to make is that I think Paulie doesn't have the greatest past.
True.
And I think Paula.
Paula.
Wow.
I wish
Why are
she
you
would-
bringing her in on
I haven't
this?
thought about her in a while.
I think about her every day.
Cara has admitted, and she even said as much tonight, she has this past.
Which was what you were. We talking about with Kyle?
Not just with Kyle,
gotcha,
just
yeah,
like
past in
the
general.
I get it.
bullying she experienced,
Later on,
the name she
later
gets
on.
called.
Yeah.
And of course, she said something along the lines of "It doesn't affect her." It does,
Well,
which is
that's-
okay.
That's
Yes.
why she got so upset at Amanda. If
Right.
it didn't bother her, she wouldn't have confronted
Can we save
her.
that part?
All right, let's save it.
Yeah, because we'll talk about that in
Okay.
depth in a minute.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
You get where I'm
Yeah.
getting. Okay.
They're both insecure.
Yes.
Yes.
And so they're drawn to each other because they understand each other's insecurities.
And let's be clear before anybody says anything. We're not saying that they're idiots or they're stupid or dumb. That is not what I'm saying.
Well, those three words just came out of your mouth.
Well, I said it, but not in reference to them.
I hope someone takes this clip and just plays it. They're idiots. They're stupid and dumb.
If I'm going to call anybody an idiot, it's you. And I already said it.
That was
tonight.
Paul.
But I was speaking for Paul, but I'll tag team him.
Paul, he's putting words in your mouth.
Can't.
Oh man.
Sometimes
So moving on,
I
finally.
just can't.
I'm still on my first page of notes.
Kaylee and let's get Kaylee and Natalie.
Well, we hadn't even gotten to how the main house people went out for a night out.
Let's knock out the redemption stuff because that's kind of its own thing.
Okay.
And
So Paulie finally convinces
And he-
Natalie that she needs to hash things out with Kaylee.
yeah,
Right.
he's in his passive peacemaker phase at this point. He wanted to see it happen because I think he knew it'd be good TV too. Him and Cam are kind of playing it up like, oh, we're eating candy and watching it happen.
Yeah.
I think he did say in his interview he thought it would be a good strategic move because he knows they would have their back. Well,
That kind of backfired.
Kaylee doesn't play peacefully from what we can tell. I don't dislike her at all. We had people on the Instagram Live asking us if we thought the UK people or the Big Brother people were better additions to the show, and we both were like, it's the UK people. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So they start getting into it. It seems to kind of fizzle down, and they're kind of the big thing was Kaylee outed Natalie on Instagram. And I remember when that happened, and people,
I do too.
Yeah, people were kind of making a big deal about it.
But Kaylee comes back and she says, how she was upset with Natalie to begin with because last season, the whole bullying thing where the girls took her suitcase and threw it over the balcony and literally broke furniture in the house. Natalie wasn't one of the girls that threw it over the balcony, but she was up there with them.
She was
laughing,
in their room. Yeah.
And that's still participating.
She didn't physically throw it, but she was happy about it, it seemed.
Yes. So that is still condoning that behavior.
And then MTV at the end had their little PSAs about, you shouldn't be outing people. It's not your place. Also, if you're experiencing bullying, they were kind of covering both bases on that.
Because they were both in the wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
Here's what I'll say is, because part of my issue, because we didn't know Kaylee, anything about her before the challenge.
No, I had read some things about how mean she was on other shows, but we haven't seen that.
So here's the thing. I'm not denying, and I'm not going to argue whether or not Kaylee was mean or is mean or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean, oh, hey, I get to be a bully too.
Right.
And so that's, because I remember the after show after that episode last season, Devin was actually on it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot they did
Yeah.
that.
And him along with, and I saw people on Twitter like trying to defend that and saying it wasn't bullying.
Yeah.
It was absolutely bullying. And
It was, but do you think it was something that if we would have saw like 5 years ago, like we would have thought anything about?
I mean, we've talked about that, right?
Yeah.
That like it's just different these days.
Yeah.
It just is. And I think we're more sensitive to a lot of things we weren't 5 years ago, and we're more attentive towards those things. Yeah. But, I just, it's not okay. And be an agent of change, because Kaylee is supposedly mean. Mm-hmm. That doesn't, and I know I'm not saying anything revolutionary here, but that doesn't mean, okay, we get to be a bully too then. I wasn't okay with, because it was clear, and it's not cool, and someone step in here, because I can't get my words out.
From what I noticed, they finally sat down, tried to talk things out. They shared
why they were upset,
what upset them, and how they felt about that. Kaylee's like, when you did that, you were still up there and laughing and participating, and that hurt me. And then Natalie comes back and she's like, you had no place to out me. That hurt me.
Both valid points.
And so they're saying, hey, we have hurt each other. This is how I feel. This is why I'm mad. And so...
But no one apologized,
apologies were exchanged.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
But they were short-lived.
But it did not seem like they were accepted.
Yeah.
They were given, but not received. And then it ends with a screaming match, like all reconciliations do.
So, what escalated it? I kind of missed that. I didn't write it down.
Well, Kaylee was talking first about how Natalie had participated in the bullying.
Yeah.
And that really hurt her feelings. But then Natalie fired back with how she had outed her, and Kaylee's like, well, you had already said something.
So it was like deflecting.
Yeah. And she said something about it in the preview, saying something about that. And she was like, well, I never said I was a lesbian, which is true. Kaylee did tweet out saying that she was a lesbian, and Natalie never said that. I think she said she was bisexual.
I don't know. I don't remember.
But regardless, Natalie fires back with that, and then Natalie is still so upset about it that she can't, I guess, calm herself when she's starting to get worked up, and so she gets a little bit louder and a little bit louder, and then Kaylee gets a little bit louder back in her face, and then they're in each other's faces screaming and doing the clapping thing.
But before it got to that, I did make a note that Natalie says she doesn't like hurting people, and I genuinely believe that. Like, she doesn't seem cut out for this side of the game.
She seems soft.
Yes, and I think it really bothers her. And so when she blew up like that, it was kind of shocking. Now she was clapping. She starts standing up. Immediately, Kaylee was up, right, and like in her face, and I was like, Kaylee would have done some damage.
If they had started throwing hands, Kaylee would have won.
I think so. I don't think this is not Natalie's quote game.
Well, Kaylee seemed completely disinterested in the whole apology thing, because when Natalie apologized, Kaylee was just like, okay.
I agree.
Yeah, she did. She just said okay.
Yeah,
and of course,
I think she kind of knew it's for TV.
Yeah.
Well, the thing
I think Paulie convinced Natalie to do it, and Cam talked Kaylee into just sitting down with her to hear her out. But that she really didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
they have to live with each other.
There clearly was I don't know that the intention was there, other than
I don't think it was genuine.
Because it was kind of funny, because Kaylee did apologize, but then as soon as Natalie starts clapping back at her, Kaylee said, I'd do it again.
Yeah, and then she said, this is why no one likes you.
Yeah.
Because you're so fake, and this is all a big, it's a big show, and...
There is no remorse anywhere.
Again, shout out to Marie. We asked her who was the fakest person on the show. We thought her answer would be Cara. Natalie. No hesitation.
I do think that Natalie is an absolute sweetheart, though.
But again, I think she's not built for this type of thing.
No.
Yeah. We got some kickback from calling her out pretty harsh last week, because she apparently did win a lot more dailies than what we remembered from last year. Again, it all kinds of runs together at this point.
She also did still have Bananas helping her out a lot.
True, but they
She
were.
doesn't
But
have
as
that
far
this
as like
season.
dailies went, she won her share
Yeah.
of them. But yeah, then Paulie and Natalie kind of retreat upstairs, and
he's still playing like peacemaker with her, like
Yeah.
trying to comfort her, console her.
You need to calm down.
And remember, like, this is supposed to be someone he's had this vendetta with.
I know.
I don't see it from day one. I've never seen it.
The Big Brother people don't seem to have vendettas. Like Jose and Devon act like they're like the best friends in the world.
They probably are.
Again, we don't have the history with them that we have with some of the other ones, so maybe that's why. But yeah, he did. He was still playing peacemaker, getting her to calm down. Kaylee was not having it. She was ready to go, and also did not care to tell Kaylee how she felt about everything.
Her mind was made up going into that.
That's what I meant. Sorry, Natalie.
Regardless, Paulie and Cam both wanted the two of them to reconcile, to make things better. One, so that they could live a little more peacefully in the house together, because they're going to be there for a while until the next losing team shows up. But also, I mean, you really want people to have your back, because you don't know who's going to pull that double cross. Yeah. And it absolutely backfired on both
sides, 100%. Neither one of them are going to pick each other.
But I don't think they were going to pick each other.
I don't either. I think Paulie
not.
thought they might, and then Cam was like, well, we definitely know that they're not picking us.
I think Cam and Kaylee knew better than to think that Paulie and Natalie would ever choose them. But I think Paulie had maybe hope that Cam and Kaylee were a little more susceptible to.
Again, he's still a rookie. You kind of forget that. He doesn't really know how all this works. That's the thing got him in trouble from day one.
So how do you feel about Paulie the Peacemaker?
I'd like to see more of it. I don't like his character. And I think it's 100% a character that he projects, and he probably lives that way to an extent. We just kind of caught him in an off moment, because from what we've seen, that's what he is. You can say, well, he may just be playing on insecurities and building it up for social media or whatever, but to an extent, like, perception is reality, and we've only seen this with him. And if he's playing into that, he did an hour-long podcast where he was in that character the whole time. I mean, that is what he is wanting to put out there. I mean, it may not be how he is if he's at home with his mom or, his brother or whatever.
His angel of a brother.
Supposedly, yeah.
I really feel like maybe that's where his securities come from. Because is his brother not older than him?
His brother was on Big Brother first. Yeah. Actually, younger. I think he's the younger brother.
Okay. Well, regardless, his brother did it first.
Yes.
And he's a fan favorite. People love him.
They did, yeah. Cody,
and so I feel like with Paulie coming in on Big Brother, maybe he felt like he
needed to establish himself.
He had to step out of his brother's shadow and make a name for himself, and maybe those insecurities and having to live up to the expectations that his brother set maybe is what kind of turned him a little sour.
I think I've got my finger on it, and I could be wrong. I think there's a real identity issue with Paulie. I don't think he knows.
You think like people suffer with in high school?
Not that he has like you could diagnose him. Like I just think he's gonna be one way around this group of people.
Here's the thing.
He's an impressionable person.
Because it works. Like it works to act one way in this group. It works to act another over here.
Here's my only problem with that. He's the same age I am.
I forget that.
I can't imagine acting like that. Like, it blows. And I get he's on reality TV. We're not the same personality type. I cannot imagine trying to live that way. I would probably shoot myself in the face if I had to do that.
If I didn't shoot you in the face first.
Exactly. Like, you would have to put up with that. And
I wouldn't put up with that.
That's what I'm getting at. It's exhausting.
You guys aren't going to shoot each other.
No, we're not going to shoot each other.
But I also don't plan on acting like that.
Which one of us shoots him first, himself or me?
So, again, we've talked a lot about the Redemption House. We still have a huge...
There was a lot to talk about
There was. And
so the main house
yes.
gets to go out to the club called Bojangles. And it's not like any Bojangles I've ever seen.
Well, I made a note about that. So it is called Bojangles. Obviously, it's not the franchise that we have in the South, which we don't have any here, but there are some in like Nashville and stuff like that.
There's one in Florence. I used to drive by it like once a week.
So my experience with that is this is South Africa, but I've been to Kenya a bunch of times, and it's absolutely hilarious going to Kenya because they just name anything whatever they want because there's no copyright laws. They don't whatever. So it'll be like President Obama Chinese food, and it'll be like McDonald's hair salon because they don't care and they know it's a recognizable name.
Yeah.
And it'll be like Starbucks Internet Cafe, and so they just use name brands, and
they do whatever they want.
I doubt that they know who what Bojangles is. I wonder what that is in South Africa though. Like, because it's a very southern term.
Well, I mean, maybe we should go see.
Okay. You want to go to South Africa and just ask them?
Well, Zachary, you go to Africa like every 2 years.
Yeah, but so the part
we might as well.
The part that I've been to is Africa's so big.
Do I get to go on this trip?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's another romantic trip. Jake, you're not allowed to go.
You would like it. Like, Kenya's great.
Not the romantic trip. You would like Africa.
So yeah, before we get into the Cara and whatever, Ashley, I'm sure we're gonna get in that at the club. One thing I did make a note of: Bananas has been doing this the whole time. He calls them the Lavender Losers. I think Lavender Ladies is kind of a dumb name. Whatever. It's kind of weird that they're naming themselves.
They're gonna get you.
They might.
They're gonna get you.
Here's the thing.
We're gonna get a text from Marie.
She's not part of it. She says
she was.
I know. Here's the thing. Johnny does the thing where he's like the Lavender Losers, and so every time he says that, it makes me think of like when people don't like your sports team, whatever it may be, and they come up with a really stupid name and they only refer to it like that. The one I wrote down was whenever people are like, you mean the Dallas Cowgirls, and like,
good one.
Yeah, the Los Angeles Losers or whatever, like those type of things. And the way that he keeps doing that, it reminds me of that so much. And
good point.
Well, he seems to kind of fit
This was a
in
good
that.
comment.
I just think it's funny that he keeps doing it and we're like, it's not clever. Like, it's the laziest pun there would be.
It's very lazy. That's why I haven't like made any kind of note.
Well,
on
it just hit me tonight that it's like the same personality type that would be like, oh, go Cowgirls, gotcha. That's not what their name is.
But that kind of fits. For
it
him,
does
doesn't
fit.
it?
It does.
Girlies.
So anyway, we see, assumedly drunk.
Are you sure that's the right word? I don't think it's
know.
a word. I think it's assumably.
No, presumably.
You can't even say that.
Indubitably.
You're butchering
Indubitably.
So we see what we think are pretty drunk Ashley and Cara just talking in the middle of the very middle of the room.
And it's very loud.
Yeah.
Everybody's yelling in there.
And you can tell both of them have been drinking. I think they both had drinks in their hands.
You can see it in their eyes.
We get into what you've always said about Cara, was that this is an insecure thing. She still has feelings for Kyle. She doesn't want to admit it. This is the first time I think this season she's admitted it.
Oh, yeah. She comes at Ashley over it.
So Ashley just flat out was like, I don't give a blank about it. And, just about Cara's concern about sleeping with Kyle.
But she also said, am I supposed to check with every person who's ever like hooked up with other people?
Well, so Cara mentioned something about like telling Ashley something along the lines of that I don't care who he's with. Who he sleeps
with. Said that,
but then she says, "But I don't mean that."
Which goes back to a lot of people have a problem with Cara this season because they say she's hypocritical. She
says one thing and then she turns around and contradicts herself.
Exactly. She'll say, "I don't care what Kyle does," and
but then, I do.
Exactly. And then she'll say, "I'm not a role model," and then on Twitter she's like, "I am a role model," and so.
No, she said on the show, "I am a role model to little
girls,"
girls, and then she tweeted like 2 weeks before that episode premiered, "I never claimed to be a role model." We have it on tape.
It's a hypocritical stance.
Here's the thing that, and I may get in trouble for this. I'm sorry.
Jake, you're stirring the pot.
I'm not against people defending her. I'm not.
No.
But she is like legitimately hurting. Like, I'm not a therapist, I'm not anything of the sort, but
she was about to cry in the middle of that club.
This girl is hurting. Like, everybody keeps like talking about how strong she is, she's not.
She had tears.
She is strong.
She's strong.
She's physically strong.
And I think that's why she's so far into all the CrossFit stuff. She's trying to overcompensate for what you're talking about.
But there is a mental and emotional brokenness to her right now. And
she's
that's just
physically strong but emotionally weak.
And she's covering it up, but she at the same time, the whole fight tonight, she's like, things like this used to bother me and they don't. Well, it's like, well, clearly it kind of does, because she went into the room to say, I've been listening to you say this. Why are you doing it? If it didn't bother her, she would have just like, who cares? I don't care what they say.
She would have left alone.
I don't fault her for defending herself, but don't say it doesn't bother you when it clearly does. I mean, it would bother all of us if we were sitting there and everyone in the other room was saying things.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like if that were happening to me, I would not say that it doesn't bother me. I would say, hey, that hurts my feelings, and then I'd come at you. It's
just, again, it's another. We've all been really big fans of her almost every season up until now. It's just it goes back to the hypocritical nature of this specific season, but it does look like she's in a place where she is hurting, and
yeah,
I don't know.
I see it. Well, part of what confused me a little bit was the fact that she comes to Ashley and starts basically just coming at her for everything.
In the club or in
the club. Yeah. And then she starts crying and breaking down over Kyle, but when she's not drinking and crying over Kyle, she's supposed to be having this thing with Paulie.
Well, he's not there.
No, he's not there.
He hasn't been there.
He hasn't been there at all, but she is supposed to have like this thing with him, and that's why she wants him in the main house. And then after the first Redemption House elimination, he went off trying to defend her, going after the other guys.
It's my problem with it is, she says, I don't care what happens. We've talked about this. I don't care what Kyle does. I don't care what anyone does. She admits that it does bother her. But at the same time, she's doing all this stuff with Paulie to get back at Kyle, who, honestly, I don't think he cares.
So he absolutely does not care,
I
even
don't know.
A little bit.
But
there's no way.
But, again, she also hooked up with Paulie knowing that he had a girlfriend back home.
She said she didn't care.
Again, yeah, exactly. And that's what a lot of cast members seem to have a problem with. And it is not just Marie. It's not just Ashley. It is a lot of the female, even past female competitors have come out and said, Cara likes to talk girl power and then does not back that up.
Laurel came out and said something about it too.
Yeah,
which Laurel is.
They don't have a good relationship.
No,
but.
So this
not anymore.
This is kind of what I was saying, going back to Paulie a little bit. This is like evidence to me of why they're so drawn to each other the way
absolutely.
They are. Because I think a lot of Paulie stuff is, from his upbringing, or not his upbringing, but what he experienced maybe as a teenager, just trying to discover who he is.
Well, same with her.
But it's with her, it's all that stuff, being told how weird she was, and still being told to an extent, I guess. And
she got told tonight.
And it's like the Kyle stuff really put her over the top, because we've seen her in a deep relationship with Abe. We've seen her kind of flirt around with other guys.
Yeah.
But this is the first one where we saw it it broke her.
Yeah.
And I think it's still there, because look,
she admitted it.
I'll speak personally. Like, I get what it is. I get what it is to have feelings for someone, and then they're just gone all of a sudden, and you don't, like, what do you do with that? It's almost like, Kyle obviously didn't die, but it's almost like they died because they're gone. They're not in your life anymore.
And they're never coming back.
Only, again, we don't fault her for having any feelings like
Absolutely
that.
not.
No, that's 100% human nature.
If anybody understands that, it's me.
Yes, and so the problem has been her putting up this, I don't care. He can do whatever he wants. I can do whatever I want. I can hook up with whoever. It's fine, but you're contradicting it, and it came out tonight.
At least be honest about it. If you are still upset about it and still have feelings for this person, and you don't want other people messing around with that person, just say so. And then if it does happen, then you are allowed to get upset.
Yeah, again, it's just making what you say and what you do line up. That's the only problem I've had.
Yeah.
The
only other note that I had from the club was that Zach has all of the faith in Tony.
I was going to say Zach and Tony are best friends, apparently. But
I knew they were close.
That's such a minor point at this juncture.
That's what we think.
For this episode. So then they get back to the house. Who knows what time it is?
Oh boy, the house.
This is where
Amanda's drunk.
Well,
Everybody's drunk.
Amanda and Ashley start. Amanda's yelling.
Amanda's just mouthing off
about Cara and
whoever's in the room,
yes. Which is what she likes to do when she drinks.
Amanda is okay. I will probably get hate for this.
She's a little abrasive.
Amanda's a mean person. People love her. I had kind of turned the corner on her, and then tonight it hit me why in the past few seasons I didn't really like her. And I'm not saying I don't like her right now. I'm kind of neutral on her. But tonight she kind of pushed herself more towards me disliking her.
Well, I had started liking her this season because I had forgotten about how not nice she can be sometimes. And then tonight I remembered, that's why I didn't like her in previous seasons.
And she means it when she says that stuff. And I think Tony even said it. Or not Tony, but Zach said something along those lines.
Our girl Marie confirmed it. I mean, she basically said that Amanda was being a bully tonight.
But yeah, I wrote that Marie was playing the role of like a big sister. I can pick on Cara. I can say whatever I want, but you guys aren't allowed to.
Absolutely.
And again, it makes sense that Cara is her only chance at winning money.
Which let's just stop right there and give it up for Marie.
Yeah, for sure.
For setting quite the example there.
Yeah, she could have easily jumped on it, but Marie tonight was really funny to me because like all these girls were like losing their minds, and Marie just like did not care what Linda was like. Get out of here! Like shut up, and like those are some of her really close friends.
Yeah. And
Cara definitely is not. And she played the right role as a partner. She didn't jump in on it. Because if she loses Cara as whatever little bit of relationship they have,
then she's out of the game and she's lost her chance at $1 million.
And so again, she played it right and she did the right thing. And
I commend her for that, because that had to be hard to do, because she somewhat, on some level, turned on her friends to tell them, hey, you're in the wrong. Shut up. Leave her alone.
I think only really good friends can do that, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is why because a lot of stuff gets said about Cara, this is why I have a little bit of a soft spot for her, because you see what she deals with.
Yeah.
Like this stuff. What I understand,
it's real. I think it's really dumb.
It's pretty regular for her to deal with this.
I think. Okay, so let me say this.
We're going real deep tonight.
I know. Let me say it this way. We're fans of Cara. She gets hated on because she is a good competitor. She wins. She's whatever. She does not do herself any favors with the way that she acts sometimes on the show and outside of the show. And again, she's free to do whatever she wants, but she also needs to know that doing some of that stuff is going to it's just going to add like fuel to the fire if people don't already like her.
Right.
And she would say to you, but I don't care, but she cares.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so again, it's her life. She can live however she wants. We might have people mad at us. That's how I feel about this. We're fans.
And it's our job to
be unbiased. I mean, not unbiased, but give you our actual opinions.
Yes.
Yeah. I will say, I did make a note. She was called crazy in this one episode by two different people. To her face.
Oh yeah, and again,
which was funny because the two people that called her crazy are crazy.
And the funniest thing, the funniest thing tonight to me was when Cara came in, like, looking for who said stuff, and Kyle was like, well, Amanda's over there, and he just kind of points over.
He said, from
that
you.
was really funny.
He did say, he's like, from you, like, and just pointed up at Amanda.
And Nelson's over in the corner trying to sleep.
Yeah, Nelson's
I did right.
Nelson's over.
I said I feel bad for Nelson again.
He's in the bunk beside Amanda,
He
losing her
looked
mind.
so desperate to get to sleep. He was like half gone.
Again, Kyle's good entertainment. You cannot like him. But
what an excellent addition to this show.
He did.
Another thing, in the middle of the Cara Amanda screaming match, Brad in the background looks like the yelling is just too much for him to handle.
Everyone kind of looked like they were over it.
He's got his hands on the sides of his head, just looking around with his big Brad bug eyes, like he doesn't know what to do.
Except Johnny. And then
Johnny loves this stuff.
Johnny, again, this is his whole life.
It's what feeds him.
He lives off of this. And so, yeah, it was funny that he just kind of, like, he jumped in to try to make Amanda and then look bad because they were ganging up on her. And so Cara knows that what he was saying was a joke and she could respond to it.
Yeah.
Again, it was a weird night. And then Amanda kind of hit the knockout punch in the sense she yelled, I hope your horse dies.
Yeah, not
Which
okay.
one is such a stupid thing to say. It doesn't sound like a burn.
No, but she knows how much.
But for Cara, her horse is her life.
Yes.
And so, what a mean thing to say.
I think someone said on Twitter, maybe Wes said that at one point too. But Wes is on the record. He did not get along with Cara.
Yeah. No.
He said...
I could absolutely hear Wes saying, I hope your horse dies.
He said she was so strange and, like, made the house a miserable place to live in when he was on there. That's what happened with the whole food fight where he poured the drink all over and she just sat there and took it and he's like, why are you not moving?
Yeah, she didn't try to get out from under it.
Again, he admitted he was a jerk and he did the wrong thing, but it was just a weird place to live. And so that type of thing reminded me kind of why in the past seasons I wasn't really a fan of Amanda because I was like, man, she's like legitimately like mean.
Well,
like she's taking shots below the belt.
Her and Nelson came in, it may have been Invasion of the Champs, as replacements for somebody.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember that.
I
don't remember them being replacements.
They were not in on the start of the season because I remember seeing Nelson like, hey, this guy looks pretty athletic.
I don't think it was Invasions, but I know what you're talking about. It may have...
Was it Rivals 3?
Stat checker, Paul.
I'll check it.
Check it real quick. Yeah. So, but whatever that first season was, she came in as a replacement. That first night when they were all back in the house was already like just going after everyone, being super aggressive.
Like from day one, she was like going at it.
And everybody's just like, who is this? Like, and nobody was intimidated.
It was Rivals 3.
Because she was new and I didn't know her and she was really pretty, I thought. And I was like, oh, I hope she's really good. I want to root for her. And then she got real mean and I was like, oh, I don't want to root for her anymore.
My little brother roots for her because she's pretty.
She's so pretty. I've thought that this whole time.
I guess she might be Hispanic. Her last name's Garcia. I didn't know that. I just looked that up.
That automatically makes her Hispanic?
It's a Hispanic name. I mean, I don't know what her, like
heritage?
Yeah, I don't know. But Garcia is definitely, like, a Hispanic name.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what sort of dynamic there is between Marie and the rest of the Lavender ladies because... Up till this episode, at least, like she was affiliated with them.
I think it
she
was
a part
Johnny
of them.
that said that it has to implode at some point.
Because
they have to start turning on each other because there's not enough spots in the final
but
for all of them.
She seems okay with that.
They were a replacement team for Leroy and Avery.
Because Leroy's back was hurt, right?
I think so.
That's right. Yep.
I forgot about that.
And so, yeah, that's why they came in.
Yep.
Which, I mean... For a replacement, like they've had a pretty good run, both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that tonight was a lot of fighting, but I think it was. I don't feel like it was like the first couple episodes of the season. Like I feel like it was like pretty critical to what is happening.
The episode was over before I knew it.
Yes, it went by fast, and we haven't even talked about the daily, which we need to hit really quick.
Yeah.
Heights.
Couldn't do it. Nope.
I made a list.
I couldn't do it.
Well,
probably.
I started to make a list of all the competitors that were terrified of heights. I figured it would be a longer list, but maybe they just didn't show everybody saying it. Kyle, which was surprising. I didn't expect that.
I think he said that last season too.
Cara, also Marie. And
Marie tried though.
Yeah, she did.
Huh.
But she did say, I'm terrified. She
Was
said the
Cara
words, I'm
afraid of
terrified.
heights?
Oh.
Cara doesn't like heights.
Cara doesn't like heights,
she said, we'll
and she
pretend
doesn't
to be
like
brave.
water.
Yeah.
Heights and water are her two kryptonites.
Cara's definitely disappointing in this. She wasn't the most disappointing in this daily, but TJ was mad. Like, he was upset from the jump.
The fourth person on the list is Shane, who legitimately got sick. He was throwing up, and they were not even going yet.
He said on Twitter that, like, one, he's terrified of heights. Two, he gets severe vertigo to where he can't even stand up when he gets near, like, cliff edges.
Which I totally understand that.
And that's why he was throwing up.
When we went to Utah, that one mountain we drove up, it got to one lane, and I did not think it was wide enough for our car, and I was absolutely sick.
I do want to applaud Shane because I would just assume, because I'm not a heights guy by any means, just climbing up on a ladder like 3 or 4 steps freaks me out.
I'm the type that'll pass out.
See, I've had to do some of that for my job, like be up on like 20-foot ladders and lifts and stuff, and so I'm over that sometimes.
So to watch him throw up, borderline almost like hyperventilate, and get up there and
try
do it.
Yeah, they did a few.
He did well.
Man, bravo to him, because TJ would just have to hate my guts. I couldn't.
It would be like, do you
it.
remember that elimination a few years ago where I think the guy's name was Theo? He was like a wide receiver playing somewhere, and it was a heights elimination, and he's like, I'm not doing it.
Yep.
And TJ was so mad at him.
Yep.
We haven't seen him since.
No, he has not been back since.
Another thing I wrote was Nelson was doing surprisingly great.
He did freak out. He was like, Shane, stop yelling at me. And Shane wasn't yelling.
Yeah. But he did way better than I expected him to do.
Yeah, they did pretty good as a team. Clearly, Johnny and Tony killed it. I mean, they were the only
team that finished.
Of course, Johnny's good at this.
Well, and he was standing up on it. Like, he was the first one standing. Everyone else was like laying and barely moving. But Shane said it tonight. He's like, I hate his guts. Like, he's great at these things.
Yeah,
he just is.
But I mean, he would be good at this. I mean, you see sometimes on his Instagram stories, like, he's doing these Ninja Warrior training things.
Well, I mean, he's been on more of these than anyone else in his life. So at some
he's
point,
probably just accustomed to it.
You probably don't like it, but you're like, oh, I've hung off the side of 1,000-foot buildings.
It's got to come to a point where when you get to a challenge like this, where he just thinks, oh, I've done way worse than this already. I
mean, he can make a career out of being a professional stuntman.
Well, he's made a career out of being a professional challenge guy.
If something ever happens to his face, he has a career.
He wants to be a host and stuff.
Complete opposite.
So they did awesome.
Everybody else that competed,
okay.
Cara and Marie didn't even make it to the first rope. Amanda.
That was honestly, we've hit on Cara a lot tonight.
Yeah.
that was Cara's fault tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the daily.
Because Marie was trying,
not succeeding, but trying.
Amanda DQs, then so does Joss ?
So Amanda's DQ was really stupid.
She said she would rather jump off of a cliff than work with Zach. And her excuse was, that should tell you how hard it is for me to work with Zach.
Amanda's was dumb because I guess they already knew that Cara and them hadn't got any ropes, and so she was like, okay, the worst we'll do is lose and tie with them. So she just jumped off.
But then Joss jumped off because Amanda jumped off.
I thought Joss kind of fell.
No, he jumped. And then he was like jokingly running to her in the air. Did you see Sylvia's face? It was the face of disappointment.
I think I was writing something down and I looked up and he had fallen off and I thought he just fell.
No,
but
he jumped. And then after they get down, Zach starts dogging Amanda about being a better person. And
he was right.
Yeah, he was absolutely right. And she's like, I don't want to hear it. And he's like, you need to work on this.
He's like, 2 steps forward, 4 steps back. She's like, we're still going forward. He's like, not
really.
Nope,
you're just going back. Yeah. So then the next group does the challenge. And then Ashley DQs because she
lost her mind on that.
Yeah, she did. She and Hunter are just still super mad at each other, and it just is not working out. Like I said, I think it was last week, I said, you and your partner are not going to get far in this challenge if you don't trust each other and you can't work together.
Well, and again, he's on record. One strike and you're out.
And she's already had that one
and he
strike.
brought it up again tonight. It's like, you lied to me
did.
the one time. I'm done.
Yep.
And so
she DQs, and then she walks off while Hunter's like, this was completely your fault.
She was really worked up in that interview.
And then she starts talking about wanting to go home, and then I wrote in parentheses, like literally every other single season she's ever been on. Pretty sure even the Champs versus Stars that she's been on,
one of those, there was like a death in the family or something.
Her dad died. Mm-hmm. But the one, I think she was on one before that.
She has a history of not
wanting to quit,
staying around. Yeah.
Yeah. She has temper tantrums and threatens to quit because things get too hard or somebody hurts her feelings.
Again, I'd kind of started turning a corner on her, and then same type of thing. It's just like, now
I'm just
I remember
over it.
So this seemed like a challenge that would be real catered to the guy pairings, just because of the
except.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was getting to.
After everybody competes, TJ comes for everybody.
Well, I wrote earlier. TJ's upset, and then I marked it out, and I was like, no, he's pissed. I was like, he's mad, and that was his thing. He's like, Cars, like, you wouldn't even try. He's like, we had 2 of our testers that were female teams. They did it in 10 minutes.
He said they were shorter than her.
Yeah.
And her excuse, he asked her.
He couldn't reach it.
He asked her before he said anything. He said, why couldn't you do it? And she said, I wasn't tall enough. I couldn't reach the rope. And then he fires back. And he says, we had 2 female stunt women who...
Well, testers. They're not... I don't think they're stunt women.
Regardless, he said 2 females that went through it that were shorter than her and did it in less than 10 minutes. And she's like, well, I just couldn't reach it. And he's like, that's not an excuse.
He was in a mood tonight.
Coming for everybody.
And I kind of liked it.
I did write that he seemed like he was in a general bad mood. Because I wrote, even TJ came for Cara, which seems like everybody has done or
to
did
some degree
this week. He comes for Cara, and then pretty sure he came after Ashley
and Amanda, all the ones that DQ'd on purpose.
But he called out Ashley and Cara by name.
Yes.
And then he says that congrats to Bananas and Tony. You were the only team that completed. And then he says, now the rest of you, something like deservingly so. You're all. But he said that they deserve it.
So you got to think, though, if they're doing 15-minute rounds and then not counting the crane moving, getting everyone hooked up and all that, they've probably been out there for
hours.
4 or 5 hours at that point. And these things take all day most of the time. And we've seen ones that go into the nighttime because people take so long. And so, again, I get it. I get why he's upset that, they took all this time out and then people aren't even trying.
Yeah. I mean, I would be mad. Yeah. Because that's a whole day wasted.
I will say the preview for next week didn't really show anything worth talking about.
It was a really short preview.
Yeah. I mean, did you have anything?
No.
Yeah.
Nelson is 100% sure that he and Shane are going into elimination now that Tony and Bananas won the daily challenge.
But he did. I think Shane had the point. I can't remember. We should get everyone in the house to vote for Tony and... Oh, well, they're safe, though. That was before. Yeah. Because he was saying we'll get them because they'll pick the weakest team they can. They think. Because they don't want... They're not... Tony and Bananas are not trying to prove anything. So they're gonna take the easiest win, I think. They're not going to try to prove to the house that they're strong. They don't need to.
I don't think either one of them care.
They're not going to call out like Kyle and Brad to like go against them.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I mean, I think it could go either way. I mean, Bananas is clearly good at eliminations. He's lost more than anyone, I think, at this point, but he's also been in more.
Well, tonight I had an awful lot of notes on Nelson, just miscellaneous.
Yeah.
There's Buster.
He's barking.
He wants our attention.
So let's get into the superlatives for the night. I'll go first.
I want to go first.
Okay.
There you go. That's right. I go first. Who smashed some heads, Hannah? Oh, I'll say TJ because he came swinging for the fences. Oh, Hannah, that's a really good answer. Zach.
You're real confused right now.
She just almost didn't even do the podcast. And then she's fine now.
Oh no, I'm still on my meds.
All right.
They're so strong. I have to snap them in half. I can only take half of one at a time.
So what about you?
Which one are we doing
Smash
first?
some heads.
Who smashed some heads, Jake?
Who smashed heads?
Who came swinging for the fences?
I'll go.
I'm gonna surprise you with this one.
Not if it's what I said.
Zach's been trying to go this whole time.
Oh, no.
Jake, hurry up and say your answer.
Ahead.
No, Jake, say your answer now. Now. Go.
I put Shane.
Oh,
I put Shane.
I didn't put Shane.
I put Shane.
Why? Because he threw up and almost passed out, but then still competed.
He was having a physical reaction to this thing, and he still went out there and tried, and they got a couple ropes, at least one.
Yeah, Shane and Nelson were very impressive.
I didn't want to pick who won because Tony Bananas clearly were good. I didn't want to pick things like that, but I put Shane because he was literally like on his knees throwing up because of what was about to happen.
Well, he was like tearing up too. He looked like he was about to cry.
And
well, I cry when I throw up.
I just can't like imagine that, like how much anxiety he's feeling right then.
Oh, I can feel it. I had knots in my stomach watching him throw up.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and he still did it. So that was my pick for tonight because he smashed.
Are you sure you're not
head.
just trying to suck up to Shane?
You know, at this point, he might not even listen anymore. I don't know.
He may be sick of us.
I hope so. Shane's our guy. We need
You
him
hope
to
that
listen.
he's sick of us?
No. Shane wouldn't be sick of us.
No. So,
He wouldn't
what's
be sick
yours?
of us. Paulie.
Paula?
I said Paulie.
Paula Walnuts?
Okay.
So why Paulie on that? Like, you can say whatever you want. I just don't know why he smashed heads tonight.
Did he smash our heads with his surprising Paulie the Peacemaker?
So where we've known Paulie to be this real out of control, irrational, acting individual, he smashed heads with his kindness and his peacemaking ways tonight. Sometimes, here's the thing, when we talk about people smashing heads, that doesn't have to be something that's done forcefully or with anger or
So you're
force.
You're saying it's like...
I mean, it's a pretty violent...
Did I say forcefully and force?
Yeah.
You did.
All right.
So are you saying more of like it was a surprise attack, smash head from behind?
I think it was legitimate because you can come from the front and be kind.
I don't know what
I
don't know what you're trying to say anymore.
I just want to apologize to everyone because I feel like I've had a really difficult time getting my stuff out tonight.
Whose fault is that?
At one point, you just said, someone else needs to
Well,
talk.
and
I don't know.
I thought about asking you to cut that out, but
No,
maybe we
we're
just...
leaving it.
Leave it.
I
Here.
apologize.
Whatever.
I'm not... I don't know.
All right, so do you want to start who got their head smashed?
Yeah, I wrote Cara and Ashley
All right.
because TJ called them out by name.
She is...
She says she's going to interrupt us.
I gave you forewarning.
All right, go, Jake. Or do you want me to go next?
Just go.
I said Amanda and Ashley because they just quit. Like, Cara was up there and she let the time run out. Amanda and Ashley quit. Like, they just both like, screw it, I'm jumping off.
Yeah,
or
but
sitting
how
down.
does that get their head smashed?
They
chose that.
They did it to themselves.
Yeah.
They smashed their own heads.
That's it. So
Okay. Jake, don't help
These
him.
are self-inflicted. No, and honestly, part of it was I don't want to say anything bad about them because we have anyone on the show, but it kind of reminded me the things in them before that I disliked. Again, this is just one example. I think so far both of them have been fine, like likable people this season.
Yeah.
I
had felt that way so far in the season.
I'll tell you what it reminds me of is all those days we used to spend playing Halo 2, Halo 3, and we'd run into them little 12-year-olds talking a lot of crap, and then we'd whoop them really bad, and then...
What are you doing physically assaulting 14-year and 13-year-olds?
Speaking
boys?
of whipping children, every time, like Natalie was doing it, it's not like...
I don't know.
Don't you shout at me!
Yeah.
Right?
What does
I
that
don't
have to
think
do
she
with-
said that.
What does that have to do with whipping children?
Do you ever... Were your parents the kind... Did your parents whip you?
Yeah.
My
Did
parents...
they...
Oh my gosh, wooden spoon, my dad's belt, hangers, spatulas,
Machetes.
switches
All right, guys.
off the side of the road.
Sticks and rocks and water and everything else. We got it.
Hangers.
Yeah.
You said hangers already.
anything. Well, it was multiple hangers, plastic and metal.
So every time that happened, like, so when they whipped you, did they go,
No.
don't you
No,
ever
no,
do
no.
that again?
No.
You No better.
No, I knew where you were going with it once you kind of got into it, but no, I don't think that's the thing. I think whenever I got whipped,
that's a thing because my mom did it to me.
I can see your mom doing that, honestly.
Yeah. We used to call my mom the Intimidator. Rest in peace, Dale Earnhardt.
I was like, your mom's not dead?
Yeah, my mom kind of did it, but she was screaming and crying at the same time.
I got whipped. I don't think it was like emphasized with words and pauses.
I think that's the most
mine was
powerful
with yelling.
form of whipping. If you're not emphasizing your smacks, your whips, you're not doing it right.
So
like,
I feel
so my mom, she's really brown. She's just a brown lady.
She is.
But whenever she would whip me, she'd get so worked up that you could actually see her skin turn red.
Oh, yeah.
And then her eyes would get bloodshot. And she would just, like, tears rolling down her face as she screamed at me
I would say,
my butt.
I would say when I got whipped, it was after the emotion side of it had died down. And it was, I don't ever remember, like, getting whipped and it being, like, really angry. Like, I got to teach you a lesson. Like, it was like, you know what you did. This is what's happening because of it.
I wish your parents had spanked me.
Well, my mom...
That's a very weird thing to say.
Because I got the opposite of that.
Let me be clear. I have the greatest mom on planet Earth.
I love my mama. We're going to see my mama in 2 days.
But we're
going to spend the whole day with her.
When she would whip me, I would get scared. And I would curl up in the fetal position in the corner. And she would have a belt in her hand. And she would be laughing like she just was like, oh, yeah, you're going to get whipped today. It's like it was funny to her that I was that afraid of her.
That's funny.
And she whipped me like any other parent would. Like
Jake,
it wasn't.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And like she made sure to check my...
She whipped you with socks and batteries on the socks.
She would take like her belt that had like the metal rings on it.
Yeah.
And she would always check my back pocket to make sure I didn't have a wallet in there or something to like...
Wait, you were getting whipped when you had a wallet? Like, that's like...
No, that's just smart. Did you not ever get a paddling in high school? Like, you make sure you've got something in your back pocket.
I never, like, once high school age, no.
The high school coaches that did it, they knew better, so they went for the thigh.
I never got paddled at school.
I never got paddled at school, but when I heard somebody was about to get one, I always had really cool teachers that would let me kind of, quote-unquote, sneak off to the bathroom so I could watch.
We were weird, man. So I had, for who got their head smashed.
Oh, yeah, we're still talking about that.
We never finished it.
Everyone involved in the drama. Everyone involved in the shouting. Everyone involved in all the crazy.
Except for Kyle. Like,
I would almost say Shane in the middle of that. Not Shane. Nelson.
I was about to say, Shane didn't do anything.
Nelson in the middle of that because he was trying to sleep, and then they came in screaming at each other, and you can tell it kind of woke him up. Like, he was getting to sleep.
Well, so Amanda, Ashley, Cara.
Yeah, we all had a version
Murray
of them.
even.
Sylvia tried to jump in on it. You can see her at the
I will
at the
defend
end of
Marie.
it.
Marie did not instigate anything.
No.
She was trying to play peacemaker.
But it was like so... It had to be draining, right?
Marie did the right thing by jumping in.
So let me give my 3 things real quick before we give our albums of the week.
Patent
pending. I've actually got 4 because I couldn't pick 3 of the 4.
You can't call it the 3 things and then have 4 things.
Real quick, Jose eats Pinkies Up.
Okay.
I do that.
While him and Cara were
this list is off to a bad start.
I do it subconsciously.
No, these are little tidbits that you probably missed it because it was so small.
It's
what's number 2?
It's my job to provide you with the things you may have missed.
These are like the facts that are on like loading screens of like video games.
Hunter is, which you guys pointed it out.
I pointed out.
Hunter is balding. He pushes his hair to the front,
which
not to the back.
He also wears a hat the majority of the time.
I noticed it when he was in his confessional right after he and Ashley finished their daily challenge.
It happens.
It looked like it was setting on top of his head instead of growing on top of his head, and then he looked down for a minute, and you can tell he's done the Donald Trump and brushed it from the back of his head to the front of his head.
Again, Shane's been there. He just needs to borrow that helmet.
Yeah,
I know.
Brad is not the best motivator. He said to Kyle while they were getting started in the daily, visualize it. Don't see it as it's in the air. See it as we're on the ground.
He did say that.
But he said visualize it. So you're... I mean, you're in the air.
Okay, what's number 4?
Are you not entertained by these?
You know, I said the thing about Jose
You're breathing real heavy into your mic.
Yeah. Maybe you should have took the Brad one out and then just kept it at 3 things.
I saved the best for last.
Hopefully.
I hope it's the best.
I think Nelson has a career as a narrator.
For what?
So, closing out the episode, he said that he looks back at Shane and says, "Get ready for Armageddon."
He didn't say that.
And I thought, wow, that was strong.
I didn't get a strong vibe from it.
I did.
I wish that Nelson would start recording audiobooks, but like philosophical ones where he like told stories and
he
stuff.
Doesn't understand what he's talking about.
Well, because he didn't say it like, "Get ready for Armageddon."
Zach, I would pay our money to listen to Nelson's audiobooks on philosophy.
I think that's my 3 things.
How do you think that segment went tonight?
Probably not my best. I feel like they've been good up to this point.
It's because you tried to add 4 and get fancy.
That's true. You should just cut it to 3. Bing, bang, boom.
Sometimes you just gotta.
Exactly.
You can only do what you can with what you have. You can only do so much with what you have.
What do
Plus,
you have?
I can't talk tonight.
Jake, what do you
Something
have?
Happened.
I feel really weird tonight.
I've got a lot of love
but
in my heart.
I'm on prescription meds.
I think it's because we're in the dark and it's like
spooky.
Are you afraid of the dark?
No.
It's a good show. Speaking of, let me say this
My
real
house
quick.
smells like the perfect combination of apple pie and pumpkin pie.
You're welcome.
There is an episode of Goosebumps
I bought all of the scents in here.
where it's werewolf skin. That's the one. And there's a character in there named Hannah. And the main kid
Are
in
you saying
there,
I'm a werewolf?
we don't know for sure, but there's a kid, the main kid in there is starting to like catch on that like his friend Hannah may be one of the werewolves. I'm not finished. You guys, both of you, I have been trying to. That's why we're going so long. Because I'm trying to say something, and you guys keep.
Well, I was gonna say
there's been so many times where you've said I can't get my words out.
You
I
pull
can't
from
talk
one
tonight.
thing that I've said, and then start talking about something completely different.
No, this had to do with it. I was gonna say maybe that's why she didn't do the Instagram live earlier. She had to like turn back.
All right. Maybe it is.
I wish she'd jump over me again.
See, he's never jumped on me.
So you're getting like Natalie. You're gonna start clapping in a minute.
So they started to think I was one of the werewolves.
He starts to catch on and like realize that she may be a werewolf, and he goes to this like wooded area where there's this bridge where he's supposed to meet her,
like the woods.
Spooky.
But she's not there. So he calls out, "Hannah, Hannah."
Is that why you always say it like that?
Oh my God!
I was really intrigued because he was saying it real funny.
And now I can't even deliver it properly because I'm all scattered. I'm flustered. Let me finish it. I know I had a pause, but it was there for a reason.
He gets to the spooky bridge.
Hannah. Hannah. Man, these people are weird.
Yeah, you say that all the time. That's why I was gonna say, is that why you say that? And you freaked out
all the time.
That's it. Go watch Goosebumps, Werewolf Skin.
I'm not 9 anymore.
Holy moly! I'm sorry.
Hey, high school album of the week.
I forgot we had to do that still.
Well, I wrote mine. It's not like I started listening to it when I was really, really, really young, but I had the actual CD and I found it in my room years later after I had a car and was driving. So I put it in my car and I've been listening to it ever since. Backstreet Boys, the Millennium album.
I will say Backstreet Boys over NSYNC all day.
I'll fight you.
I've said that my whole life.
All day.
I love NSYNC.
Nah.
NSYNC may as well have been Justin and JC.
Yeah.
Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Backstreet Boys, all them dudes.
Yeah, and look look who's become more successful out of the group.
Okay, look who has still made music as of like recently. Backstreet Boys got back together.
That's because Justin Timberlake is like, I don't need them anymore.
I know, he's awesome. I love Justin Timberlake.
Minority owner of the Grizzlies.
Also, him and his wife are in an open relationship.
I read that. I don't know if
Well,
that's true.
I read about that, and apparently they tried it because she wasn't ready to settle down yet, and then when she was ready, they had their kid and they closed.
So
their
what's your
marriage. So it's
album
just
of the
two
week?
them.
What we listened to tonight during
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Instagram Live, North Star, Pollyanna. It's a great album.
It is solid, top to bottom. They put out one album. That's it. They're
North
done.
Star is the name of the band?
Yep.
That's right.
That sounds like a gas station.
Well, it's a band.
Also sounds like a brand of bread.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, mine is Coheed and Cambria. The album In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3. All of their albums are they have themes, and like they follow a pattern, and they have like comic books and graphic novels that go along with them. They're all concept albums. They started out with the Second Stage Turbine Blade, then went on to In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3, then they went on to Good Apollo and Burning Star 4, and then the next one I think was maybe Good Apollo and Burning Star 4 Part 2, and then they went back and did a prequel, which was Part 1. Again, I don't know how he does it. They put out a new album this week that was like 4 songs. It's really good. It is great. It is a great album. I was listening to that at work today, and Jake, my cousin, not you, came in and was like, what do you listen to? And I was like, Coheed, and he's like, that's what I thought. He's like, they're still good. And I was like, yep.
He still listens to them?
No, but he did like them.
Yeah.
Although he has a weird old iPod that I put a bunch of music on like 8 years ago.
He probably still listens to it.
Underrated how good of a guy Jake is.
Debatable.
He's the one that helped you do the peroxide in your hair to try to bleach it.
That is true.
During work.
We could do a
paid work time.
We could do a whole podcast on all the things we did to Jake when we were teenagers.
That is definitely true too.
The time he left ravioli in the shelf in the closet.
That's later. That was when he was in college.
I know, but that's still one of my favorite
but
stories.
out of context, that's really funny.
We should try that as a segment next week because we have so many stories and they're hilarious. Let's try that. Let's make that a point.
Well, we already started this week.
Make a note,
Jake,
because we'll forget.
My cousin Jake used to live with us, and he lived with me. You lived with me at one point.
I did.
Your brother lived with me at one point.
I lived there at one point.
Yeah.
You weren't living there,
So-
but I lived there with your parents at
Who
one
did you
point.
not have live there, huh?
Yeah, I mean, in high school it was all over. But Jake lived there, and he had a habit of keeping plates and stuff upstairs.
And the rule of the house was do not take food upstairs
Well,
because
don't
it's
leave
carpet
it.
and
Yeah.
don't leave it.
Well, he would leave his plates under the bed.
He did
You
that
just
once,
slide
and
them under
that's
the
what
bed.
started it. My mom found a plate that he had like put under the bed.
She probably went to strip the bed to wash the sheets
Yeah.
and then stepped on it. And
Again, he
found
was
it.
like 19 or 18 at the time, and then
Not responsible, obviously.
he had like a bunch of leftover ravioli one time, and he didn't want to go walk downstairs, which is not that far. And he put it in the closet on the shelf and forgot about it. And she found it and was so mad that she kicked him out of the house. He didn't live with us anymore after that.
I think it's my favorite story because of the ending. She was so mad she kicked him out. She said, "You can't live here anymore. Find somewhere else to live."
And he's like the nicest guy, and she like
Didn't he live in his car for like 2 weeks after that?
No. No, you just made that up.
No. Anna told me that.
No,
She said he
yeah.
like lived in his car for a little while.
No, but anyway, yeah, that was a thing, and my mom doesn't want to like get in arguments or anything like that. So
She's
that's
so
that's very out of
non-confrontational.
character. Yeah, we
But
might,
you got to think how many warnings she had to give him.
That's if people aren't interested in the album of the week, that may be the segment to go with.
well, we had people tonight on the Instagram Live say they actually did listen to him.
Yeah.
So anyway, we went pretty long.
There was seriously a whole lot to talk about.
There was a lot to talk about tonight.
Especially ravioli in a closet.
Yeah. So again, if you want to email us, we had some people asking on Instagram Live. It's Smashing Heads Podcast.
Smashing
Plural.
Heads
Podcast at gmail.com, at Smashing Heads on Twitter,
No longer pretty cute.
at Smashing Heads Podcast on Instagram,
Hashtag RIPPC.
and same on Facebook. And we'll try to do some more Instagram Lives.
That's
I was worried
creative.
I was going to mess that up.
No, that was good.
And we will talk. Oh, we have a couple of interviews that we're trying to work out details on. Once we have that locked down, we will announce them hopefully within the next week or so. At least one of them. And
I feel like we've been talking for like 4 hours.
so we have some announcements coming. Be on the lookout for that. Other than that,
Hey, what if we pronounced it Smashing Heads Podcast?
other than that, we will see you guys next week.
Well, wait a second.
Have a good night, everyone.
I'm glad you didn't nail it.